it really means the world to me that you're watching. Is I mean, if you weren't, why am I doing this? I am not all that interested in preaching to the choir. I never have been, but the choir seems to have a lot of infiltrators. So I don't know if anything that I say or I have done, especially at this past California GOP convention, Republican convention, which was in Sacramento, California, just this past weekend. Broadcast live from there for 13 and a half hours, just like one guest after another after another. And we were talking about the party itself and the rhinos. In case you don't know what that means, it's an acronym. Republican in name only, rhino. So when you hear any conservative talking about, or any Republican talking about a rhino or a Democrat, whatever, that's what it stands for, in case you didn't know. And they are every bit as powerful against what this nation stands for and how this nation was built and created. They're every bit as powerful an enemy of our nation, I believe, as the Democrats themselves. They're dead set against their own party, is the impression that I get, and what I've experienced in my 2 years now as an actual delegate, voting member of the California GOP. I've seen it. I've seen evidence of it. I know other delegates who have been offered money, trips, this, that, if you'll give them your vote. Who's them? I don't know, because they don't approach me. I haven't had anybody offer me anything for my vote. And I'm glad, because they know full well, not only will I say no, but I'm sorry, how do you spell your name again? I'll put them on blast. I have no fear. I really don't have any fear of what the California Republican Party might do to me. And I'm already seeing evidence of it because I've been so outspoken, not against my own party, but against the current people who are running it. And again, not all of them, but unfortunately the majority of them. And this past convention on Sunday, we had our voting session. And the leader of the pack that I was voting for, that I knew would turn this party around and get us back on the right track, did not win. Didn't. And of course the media, well, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about when it comes to, when I first got into being a part of the Republican Party, because before that, I've always been a conservative, but you do your political thing. I'll just be here talking about it. But then I was like, well, that's weak. Words are easy. Action's not so much. Get involved. Do something. So I have been ever since. And it's been, I don't blame my friends who are leaving the state anymore. I used to go, don't leave. We need people like you. Stay here. Don't leave. Don't take the coward's way out. That's not the coward's way out, and that's a wrong attitude. I shouldn't think that way, and I don't anymore, because I don't blame them. I don't see a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. And then you have conservative candidates who come along, and their own party rails against them. Here's what NBC News, at least an NBC News affiliate, did about an actual conservative who said, "That's it, I've had it, we're going rhino hunting." Those very words have come out of my mouth on this show, as you know. Watch this report.
An explosive political ad catching new heat this morning. Republican Senate candidate Eric Greitens, flanked by a team dressed in tactical gear, all armed with guns, storming a home, saying in the ad they're hunting rhinos, or Republicans in name only, a derogatory term for GOP members seen as not loyal enough to the party. No bagging limit, no tagging limit, Greitens says, asking people to get a rhino hunting permit. Critics immediately slamming the ad as a call to violence. Texas Democrat Joaquin Castro describing it as sociopathic, warning Greitens, "You're going to get someone killed." A
No,
conservative
only you
commentator
people do
calling
that.
it a dumb, dangerous troll. Facebook taking down the video, which has not aired on TV, only posted online. Twitter leaving it up in the public interest, it said, but with a warning it violated the company's abusive behavior policy. Greitens' campaign manager, in a statement to NBC News, says those who have an issue with the video and the metaphor are either lying or dumb. We believe big tech and its oligarchs are both, with Greitens tweeting and touting a news story about the controversy.
We have announced a great wake-up call.
The candidate in a crowded conservative field in Missouri courting the endorsement of former President Trump. Greitens has faced calls to drop out over domestic violence accusations, his ex-wife saying he physically abused their child, which he denies. He served as Missouri's governor, but resigned in 2018 after allegations against him of sexual abuse and blackmail and criminal charges that were later dropped. His new video coming at a time of increasing concern over political violence in general. With the January 6th attack back in the headlines during this month's hearings about it on Capitol Hill, lawmakers reporting death threats in the months since the insurrection, including Republican Adam Kinzinger sharing an anonymous letter he received threatening to execute him, his wife, and his infant son.
There is violence in the future, I'm going to tell you. And until we get a grip on telling people the truth, we can't expect any differently.
Some of Eric Greitens' Republican primary opponents are criticizing him, with one calling the ad completely irresponsible. Democrats are casting this as a political issue with national implications. Congressman Eric Swalwell, for example, blaming Republican leaders Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy for failing to confront and condemn, in his words, MAGA radicals.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you better put a leash on your pit bull. I have a great friend down in Southern California, very involved in the Republican Party, and she is no rhino. And she was a delegate for a candidate down in her Southern California area. And other party members went to him and said, yeah, she's MAGA. You might want to distance yourself from her. You don't want to have her as a delegate. Now, a strong man would have said, and so? No, deal with it. That's fantastic. That's my choice. No, he wussed out. And it got back to her later that literally one of the higher ups in the party in the Central Committee said, you need to put a leash on that pit bull. Talking about her. Our own party seems to be dead set against actual conservative values. And Dalila Epperson, Monterey County, spoke up against it on Sunday in that voting session. Girl, I didn't even realize it was you at first. And you did a point of order, and you started laying out what the GOP state party has done to the central committees. This most exclusively yours, because that's what you're a part of. Welcome back to Do Not Talk.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, Monterey County, we got our entire executive board wiped out and flipped because every one of us were MAGA and are MAGA. And they flipped us because we were supporting Mike Morrell to be voted in as chair. And every single one of them that got put in to replace us was supporting Corinne Rankin. Figure that one out. Now, this happened not just to Monterey County, but to other counties. There are a total of 8 counties that this happened to, where they took their delegates, swiped them, replaced them, took central committee chairs, swiped them, replaced them, executive boards, wiped out. Monterey is one of the most egregious because they actually broke California law to do it. In particular, California Election Code 7409 and 7410. If you look that up, only the elected can vote. They brought in 6 extra people at our organizing meeting to vote. We had the majority, 14-9. Well, 14 plus 6. 9 plus 6 is 15. So you got 14, 15. Then they had the majority. The California GOP came in, wiped us out and said, it doesn't count that your first organizing meeting that you won. I am the duly elected chair of Monterey County. They had a second organizing meeting and the California GOP recognized them instead. once again because they are not MAGA and we are. And it's as simple as that. It's crazy, but we are fighting our own party hardcore here in California. We would love to have some assistance. There are a couple of lawsuits out there, but those take time. We would love to get some assistance from some big name influential people to come into California and help us out, because we did the legwork. We did all the legwork. We got out there, we canvassed, we made phone calls, we put ads in the paper, we won our seats, duly won our seats on the March 5th primary is when you run for Central Committee. And then fast forward to to 2025, January, and they just flipped us and said, no, sorry, this was not done right. And guess what? We have video footage to show and prove that we did everything correctly. We had our regional vice chair there, Randall Jordan. We had Tom Hudson, the parliamentarian who helped write the California election code. Hello.
That boy knows the rules, man, because he wrote a lot of them, and it was approved. And he's an extraordinary gentleman.
Extraordinary. We did everything by the book, but that's why we may have felt we didn't cheat. We do everything by the book because we're MAGA and we're Christian. We do everything by the book. We can't help that. It's encoded in us, right? They do not.
The word promises us what is done in darkness will be exposed by the light. And I don't know how many have been bringing attention to this on my side of the fence, on the media side, especially the alternative media. I don't know of anyone else that's been talking about it. So I'm not gonna say it's because I've been talking about it, I've been exposing it. That's no. I'm just a little guy. But I'm hoping and praying that there are others, because there was a shift that happened in Marin County. Talking with John Turnicliffe and also Amar Lal, that their delegates were reinstated because they did the same thing to Marin.
Yes, they did. They swiped it, took it away, and John was able to, God bless him, was able to get a second organizing meeting because they also had footage that showed it wasn't a mob, it wasn't a riot. That's what they said to us too. And he got another organizing meeting and he got the chair position. And yet they told him, but we're going to have these delegates belong to the old chair. The outgoing old chair gets those delegates, those 5 delegates, but you'll get 4 and he'll get, time out. How does that work? The chair gets all the delegates. How does it work that the outgoing chair got some and John got some? How?
That's a great question. I don't know.
I'd like that explained to me.
But I saw a lot of things on Sunday that I couldn't explain. Like, for example, all of a sudden 100 voting members who had the little clickers, the little electronic voting remote devices, disappeared off the board. They were just gone, but yet none of the remotes had been turned in.
And nobody answered that, did they?
Nobody answered that, and they did not stop the procedure to even investigate it. It seemed completely unlawful to me. And I watched that outgoing chair of the California GOP, who I have zero respect for, zero. I think she's been disastrous. And absolutely. I watched her when you got up and started speaking about this to the people who are, need to know that this is going on. Do you even realize that they're doing this to the central committees in the different counties? You started speaking against it. She gavelled you out. She called you out of order, and then she told the people running the system to turn off your microphone, and they did. But you still didn't stop. You just kept going, man. That was awesome. And of course, we're not allowed to videotape anything in there. But I really wish I would have gone against those rules and cheated, even if they took my delegation away, and videoed it. I would have loved for everybody to have been able to hear and see what you said and what you did. I've never been more proud of anyone else in my party in this state than I was yesterday or 2 days ago when you did that, Talia.
Thank you.
Seriously. That was
Thank you, Charlie.
extraordinary. Can you please explain to anyone and everyone who was not there and those who couldn't hear you after they turned off your microphone, what were you expressing?
Thank you. I was letting them know as a point of order because the rules report was just being had, so you have to go up there quickly. So in rules, a separate meeting the day before, and in proxy, another meeting, I was requesting an audience. I was letting them know, point of order, in the other two meetings, my name is Dalila Epperson. I'm from Monterey County. I have a grievance. And they simply would not recognize me. In proxy, he told me the decision was made, that was that, and to sit down. I kept on. I finally was told to sit down or get out. In rules, I wasn't recognized at all, not on the agenda, not anywhere. So when I went up there on Sunday to point of order Corinne Rankin and the rules committee, also the chair there, and say, look, I have not been recognized and I have a grievance. Now, in the old days, if you have a grievance, you go up to the mic, point of order, and you express your grievance. You say,
To get it on record, if nothing else.
exactly. You get it on record. Exactly. And that's all I wanted to do. So as soon as I said my name and I said, look, I wasn't recognized here and here, my mic got turned off. I immediately turned around and as loud as I could propel my voice, I started telling the audience, they cheated. They took my executive board away. It was illegal. We were duly elected. They broke California law to do it. They have an illegal board in Monterey County. And I just repeated, and I needed them to know, this is my grievance. How dare they turn my mic off? We're all Republicans. We're all supposed to go up to the mic and say, look, this is what's going on. And I have a problem with that. And I wasn't the only one, because as soon as I said my name, I got an applause from the back of the room where there's a lot of people there who know what's going on. And again, even after I was saying it as loud as I could and being escorted back to my chair and being told, you keep talking and we will escort you out.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
They were bringing in the sergeant of arms. Yes.
And so I sat down, but yeah.
Because
But
we
yeah,
didn't need to lose your vote. You would have been there to vote.
I wanted to vote.
Now, I'll tell you what, out of all the things that were being considered on Sunday, I think I only, what I voted yes for only passed 3 different people and things. Everything else got shot down. Anything that was pro-Republican, pro-Make America Great Again, anything that was pro-Trump that was presented was all shot down.
Yes.
And I just saw it again and again and again. And this has been going on since my first convention, which was 2 years ago in Sacramento. That's what I've seen. And it's so frustrating. And I listened to that entire room shout when they were voting who was going to be chair, the new chair, either Mike Morrell, former Senator Mike Morrell, an extraordinary gentleman, or Corinne Rankin, who was the vice chair under that train wreck Jessica Patterson for 6 years. And I heard the entire room chanting, Mike, Mike, Mike. I can't say the entire room, but it sounded like 3/4 of us at least were shouting, Mike, 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 Mike.
Yeah.
And he lost by
And he lost.
by almost half.
It's
And-
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and how many times did they have problems with that little remote device? They kept having to do tests. It kept not working right. It kept not
Yeah.
showing up right. Do you know how much money they pay for those little remotes for us to, those little
Oh.
electronic voting devices? Do you know how much they pay per convention for those?
It's enormous. What is it?
$75,000.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's our money.
Right.
That's
That's our money.
did you see the error code by any chance? The error code?
Yes. Yes, I had to turn my remote in at the very
Wow.
beginning. Thank goodness I caught it. It was not registering, and that was happening to a lot of people. And like I said, all of a sudden, 100 of those who had the remotes all of a sudden disappeared off the board. You could see the count
Yep.
of everybody who was there who had the remotes, and it was 1,000 something, 1,300 maybe. All of a sudden, it dropped by 100. And Orrin Heatley, another one of my heroes, gets up on mic and goes, "Look at the board right now. Look what's happened. 100 people are missing, but yet I've just confirmed no remotes have been turned in.
Yep.
Where did they go? Why are they suddenly not voting and not being counted? No answer. No investigation.
answer.
No. Well, we're going to have to consult right now. Nothing. It was like we're gonna gavel you out. We're gonna shut you up, and we're gonna continue on because this thing's already fixed.
I don't understand. I don't understand, Charlie. And listen, hey, listen, real quick. The error code I was actually referring to was up on the board for it's at least 2 or 3 seconds on the big jumbo board. There was an error code that came up, and then they quickly closed it and took it to unexpected, and it said unexpected voters included. It was a weird error code that was on the main screen, and I have a picture of it and I'll send it to you. Chris Bish actually sent it. She's awesome. She caught it. She took a picture of it real quick, and it was a real error. So it looked like there was actually a hack inside of it that happened. It said unexpected extra voters included error, and it said error code on it. What in the world? These look, even President Trump wants to take away and says, look, we need paper ballots, voter ID, one-day voting, but
we're supposed to be setting the example for that. And our state is still doing the electronic voting devices. They look like little TV remotes. And even the national GOP doesn't do that.
Yeah, I know.
But we are.
So why are we? I think we all know why.
I think we do too. It really seemed like the fix was in.
It always
I was
does.
just disgusted by the whole thing. I've heard our fellow Republicans say, we need to start our own party. We need to start a MAGA party. And my response is immediate. Stop saying that. There's no better way to make sure we never win anything. We need to fix our own party from within.
Yeah.
But
there's
one of the few bright lights at the end of the tunnel was the man who was elected to be treasurer. And it was like one of those too big to rig things, and that's Jack Guerrero. And he actually held up a sign as he was walking up to the dais after he won that said, Doge, California. Yes. That was brilliant.
I know.
I love that. At John Park, we got John Park in. We got Mark Wright. Thank God we did not get Lonnie Connie. Who else did there? There was one other positive. I'm not thinking right now. The ones who won, who are definitely more on the conservative side, but our own party seems to be hell bent on eroding everything that makes us Republicans.
Yes.
Despite the national complete dominance of conservative values and the national party and across the nation and getting President Trump back in again, you'd think that would at least inspire the state party to like, well, I guess we have to save our own hides and maybe go a little bit more to the center at least. But no, they're so arrogant, aren't they?
It's like we want to say, look, just stop. You've tried this for the past 20 years, and all we've done every single term is lose seats. We now have a supermajority of Democrats in both the Assembly and the Senate, and yet you want to continue to go to the West Center. We need to go back to it. That's why Trump won. That's why we love him. That's why Trump won. And there's a couple other people like Tom Weissmuller that made it in as regional.
Oh, Tom Weissmuller. That's the other one I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Heather.
Yes. Thank you, Heather Colby.
And Heather has a picture of the that error code, by the way, also. So just send that on in. Please send it into CharLee.
Absolutely, please. I wish I had, if anybody snuck a video of you and the way they treated you, that Jessica Patterson train wreck, the way she treated you, if anyone has that video, please get it to me.
That would be awesome.
Here at rumble.com/DoNotTalk, or you'll find me on Facebook, CharLee Simons, CharLee Simons, or on YouTube at CharLee Simons. Reach out to me and get me that video. I want to show that. That was amazing. But where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Is there any change in Monterey? Any kind of as such a blue area, you're just surrounded by people who despise you. You wouldn't think that our own party would fall into that category, but they do seem to be that way.
Uh, we really think it's just all about the money. It's just this, when things don't make sense. I have a podcast also, America Needs You. Whenever something doesn't make sense, boy, if I dig hard enough, it always seems to be that dollar sign sitting in the middle of that onion. It just seems to be about the money. But Monterey is not as blue as everybody thinks. And it's very evident if you see all the groups that are or have formed and been forming. So we are going to do the work that our central committee is just not going to do. We always knew that. So we have a PAC, Central Coast, and we're going to do that. We have our own office already. We are going to live off the PAC and fundraise, and we are going to support conservative candidates that run for school board, city council, board of supervisors, and on up. And we will be writing them checks and fundraising for them and canvassing for them, because that's what we do, and that's what we've been doing. We didn't go after the central committee to get the central committee.
Yeah.
We wanted the central committee to have a decent platform to do the work.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do the work anyway, CharLee.
Speaking of writing that check, is every year we write a check for $250,000. And that's just the salary for the chair of the California GOP party, which before that, I think the chair right before Jessica Patterson, he worked it to where he got paid something, but nothing like $250,000. But before that, it was always all volunteer.
Yeah, that should be volunteer.
I think so too. So now Jessica Patterson's been making herself a cool $250,000 per year for 6 years. Supposed to only have 2 terms. Somehow she finagled 3. Don't know how that worked.
Yep. Change the bylaws.
We've paid millions of dollars, and our own state party does not support candidates. They don't financially support and help candidates who are running for office, at least on any kind of a local level, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. I've run for office twice now, and our current chair now, Corinne Rankin, she did not endorse Trump. She voted not to endorse Trump.
I was there at that convention.
That tells you everything you need to know.
It's like lying liars, and the liars they lie to is what it seems like to me. But I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit because as long as part of the party platform with the Republicans that we are pro-life, we are pro-traditional marriage, we are pro-Second Amendment, but they've tried to take that out now. Twice they've tried to take that out. Those very people, those very names that Dalila and I have just mentioned, have tried to take that out of our platform as a Republican Party in California because, well, we need to do that to win elections. We need to reach across the aisle. Well, that's the kiss of death as far as I'm concerned. We should be the stalwarts of what makes the Republican Party what it is. But in California, we don't seem to be.
Yeah,
do we have any hope?
I think so. I think the tide has turned, and they know it, and that's why they've been after us, because we are over target. That's why they had to come after us. We're not done. No way. We're going to continue forward, and we're going to do the work. So
absolutely, man. I'm glad I know you. I'm glad I got to meet you, and anything I can do to help in my own little way, count on me. But how do we find you? How do we follow what you're doing? Where do we go?
Well, we have a website up and running already. It's called centralcoastcommittee.com. And I encourage you to go take a look at it. It's very coastal, nice coastal feel. We want to encourage the no party preference to come see us. We have events at our office already, and we have other events in the house. And if you sign up, just subscribe to the website. You'll get our newsletters. You'll get when the events are happening, time, dates. It's if you want to help Monterey, that's the way to do it. It's really easy to help us. And you can always just, if you're out of the county, you can sign up just to be a phone banker for us when we help those conservative candidates. Because if we start flipping school boards and city council and board of supervisors, oh my goodness. I think we're going to be on Fox News, but maybe OAN and Newsmax.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. The rest of them will ignore you and pray that they lie through omission. They lie by never telling you about what's going on really on the right side. And I'm glad that we're on the right side. And thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you for
Absolutely.
everything you're doing,
It
CharLee.
was an
Thank you.
honor and a privilege. And you want to help them, please do centralcoastcommittee.com. You want to help this show, you can do that through givesendgo.com/do not talk. A lot of costs are incurred in putting this show on. And I just really appreciate your support more than anything. You like this show, hit the like button right now. Subscribe or follow on Do Not Talk, rumble.com/do not talk. Please follow this page, this channel. And most of all, may God bless you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America bless God.